All right. Hey, everyone. So, reclaiming the value in the value chain with the MNOs through Gen AI. When you look historically at things that have been, lost opportunities within the space, you have the application layer. So, for example, the telco ecosystem doesn't really profit that 30% off of the app developers the same way how Apple does. So it's a real disadvantage in many ways. The way to actually offset that is through the interaction of real-time APIs with Gen AI. And how does something like that type of a vision actually work? When you think about it, when you have real-time APIs interaction, they're able to empower that LLM. You get paid on the API call, and then what happens is it is now enhancing for real-time output where it's been optimized. The real-time API interactions is the new way how people are evolving the way that we as people interact on the internet. Imagine the world when now that we have, it's where the network actually talks back. So the same way how we go on, say, google.com to search for something, the change that we would be doing instead now is we would be interacting with ChatGPT. But as we're interacting, say, with the ChatGPT, what can we do and what kind of questions would we ask and where would an API call actually come into play? That's where all different types of new emerging opportunities arise. So for example, imagine if you're talking to your AI agent or whatnot, and you can do both enterprise type of use cases as well as having consumer-facing ones. And so now, what we're going to go ahead and do is start to actually show you what it actually looks like, how you can actually take with this just a single line of code. So that's what's so cool actually about this whole use case and demo is the simplicity, where the advanced back end of the actual network orchestration API ecosystem can literally just be done by a developer where all they do is just sign up, one line of code, full functionality, all of the various APIs. So let's envision that we're actually working towards the use case of a banker. I'm a customer service agent, I work at a bank, and I need to verify and validate for if that person that I'm talking to is actually that person on the other end of the phone. Or what is the potential risk of there having been a breach? And so what we're able to actually go and do is we can have it call into SIM swap. So I was lucky enough to be able to have Laura from Telefonica actually make it where she scanned her SIM for me. So we actually have full access where it actually is going in, calling into Telefonica's ecosystem to produce this output. What we have also is then we actually have an orchestration layer, as you can see in the URL, where there's tons of different functionalities, use cases, and little workers that are ready to go out and come back with that, say, request of information. And you can see that we were able to actually place the phone number directly in here. And then if you were to go into where you can actually do the edit mode on the GPT itself, you can see how it's been created where it actually has a custom knowledge base in there. And what you'll also see there too as well is that line of code. The worker's URL right here. The next demo one that I'm going to walk through is that done with an actual channel partner. So this is an example of where with just that one line of code, you can actually place that into a GPT, which is able to actually go through the authorization flow. All of this is custom knowledge that's been uploaded, which is actually taken from CAMARA itself. So it's taking all the API documentation, all the different terminology and whatnot, so that way it's able to actually best execute. The other one, sorry. Now, this is an actual GPT which was made around and designed based off of QOD's different types of needs. So yesterday while we were at MWC, one of the requests that happened was as we were sitting there trying to demo and show off how to interact with ChatGPT and within CAMARA, the problem emerged where the screen was touchscreen. And if we're sitting there showing someone how to interact with ChatGPT and you have to touch on the screen and you're like this on it, that's not easy. It's very slow typing and not a great user experience. So Marcus, who was just speaking, he's, said, hey Nick, we need to make it really functional type of thing. So what we actually went ahead and did was customize it where we actually made it where everything is multiple choice. So now this way tomorrow on the demo, when we're presenting, we can actually go ahead and select A, B, C, or D based off, say, that user journey that we're about to go through. So let's go ahead and go C. Now, what this is also able to do now is actually walking through the actual code and the process as it's going through. What's useful about this as well is it shows and it's able to this way work alongside various developers as they're actually uploading and trying to find out what areas they went wrong. So the GPT works as a great resource where it can be helpful not only for a developer who's trying to identify what he's done wrong or why he's getting a return error message. It's also great too for helping inside teams that are trying to sell API calls where they can then have the GPT to start to help them innovate business concepts and use cases. So the GPT can also act as a way to actually be able to brainstorm and come up with great innovative ideas that will enhance, say, the throughput for that business that's designing different APIs based off enterprise level requirements. And then you can see here as well is how it goes through it with the access token, and then it also is able to do through on the back-end flow. The next one is, hang on 1 second. This is a CAMARA custom GPT, which is designed to be able to also help MNOs. What it's able to do is, say, for example, an MNO is interested in wanting to, draft a API proposal. They have a business idea or concept and whatnot, and they actually want to have help drafting it. They know what the problem they're trying to solve for, but they might not be feeling comfortable, say, either A, doing the proposal themselves, or B, they just joined CAMARA and they're actually looking for help to actually generate that. What it does is it actually follows the actual CAMARA template, and this allows for the end user this way, or a person, say, who recently joined CAMARA, to be able to submit that API proposal. What's helpful with all of this is that it allows now for the ideation of going back and forth with something like ChatGPT. ChatGPT and AI are great for poking holes in ideas quickly. You have, say, ask ChatGPT to come up with 100 reasons why an idea doesn't work, and it'll give you as extensive as a list as possible. By going back and forth as you're actually coming up with what is going to be the solution for, say, that optimal proposal or product market need, and plugging that gap, what you've now been able to do is actually help flush out that idea further and to validate it. Sure. Well, problems happen, what can you say? This GPT that we're trying to use right now is designed what it actually does is, it's with a channel partner, which I worked with, who I met actually within CAMARA. What we do is we actually take the GPT and we actually made it where we could call in to the CAMARA APIs, and now we're going to be creating a new API product. That new API product that we're actually creating together is where, as we pull from that, say, API, what we're pulling for is the actual darn. Sorry, so I think the URL got moved on that. Basically what ends up happening though on this one is where it goes through on that GPT with SpryFox, and we're now actually blending multiple different API calls together. By that, what I mean is, as we're blending multiple API calls together, what we're doing is we're pulling from SIM-swap. We're pulling from device location, as well as number verify, and it then is able to pull all of those different APIs and actually calculate a risk score. This allows for now where it's a new type of, say, product that has been created because of the fact how those APIs have been bundled together. This is an example of how using Gen AI with real-time insights from the network unlock new revenue opportunities. And those new revenue opportunities are here for all. Because here we are able to make it where the mobile network operators and the telcos have an opportunity to offer great insights. We're able to then help empower LLMs so they actually don't hallucinate or have to guess as much. LLMs are very convincing in so many ways. When you're reading the output, you don't really know what they don't know many times. With this type of level of insights, what you're able to do is now actually have the network where all of that money's been spent to build and train that LLM. And you, as the individual end user, can just ask a simple question. A question about the network. Where, hey, network, where can I go and stream, 4K with the highest resolution possible as I'm doing the live stream demo? And that is an example of that emerging and synergy between the MNOs and AI, as well as empowering the subscriber. By all of us working together and helping actually tame AI, not being scared of AI here to destroy us, but instead looking for ways that we can actually use AI to act as our exoskeleton to make us function better as humans and people. Where y'all can be 10 times more productive with AI and Gen AI. And it's a brilliant, beautiful world that we are coming into. So together, is what's most important is partnership and collaboration. The partnership and collaboration is what's going to spur API adoption. We grow together, we innovate together, and it'll be a fun digital world that we live in moving forward. So thank you, everyone.